Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Well, as Santa Claus is getting ready to deliver presents to children all over the world, my next guest is bringing the magical story of the Tooth Fairy to Irish kids. Emma Duffy from My Forever Tooth Fairy joins us on the phone now to discuss the magical story behind her business. Emma, we'll be discussing how you are building a business around the Tooth Fairy, but first, I'd like to get an insight into your own background.
Oh, Karl, good morning, and thanks for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. So my background is marketing. So I've worked in marketing roles for over 21 years, really across kind of food, not across toys, interestingly, but across food brands like Glanbia, Bewley's, Avonmore, Musgrave, and then my most recent stint was Chief Marketing Officer for a technology company. I've taken a big leap from there into starting my own business. So that's my background.
So where did the idea for My Forever Tooth Fairy come from?
Yeah, so I suppose I never set out to be an entrepreneur. There's no entrepreneurs in the family. I did not see that in my roadmap, to be honest, Karl. But the idea came to me over 2 years ago. My daughter was at that age where she was losing lots of teeth, and she really didn't give a jot about the money aspect of it. I found out that €1 and €2 doesn't have the same novelty as it did for me back in the 80s. But she had such a joy in the magic of it. And, you know, I suppose the marketing brain kicked in and thought, how has nobody commercialized this, but in a really branded way? I knew there was some brands doing little things around, you know, notes and little tooth fairy bags, but nobody had really captured it as a concept, say like Elf on the Shelf, for example. So that was the one side. And I thought, right, there's something here after doing a bit of research. But I said, if it's something I'm going to jump into, from a mom point of view, I want to make sure I add loads of value, magic and meaning to it, but in a hassle-free way for parents. So that was the start of the idea. I kept a little notebook. I started writing ideas down. I wrote the draft for the story over the summer. And I just started to kind of work on it from there. And it took me 2 years to kind of get the product to launch phase, I suppose. And working with my daughter on that was part of the joy of it, I suppose, as well.
Talk to us about the product.
So the product itself is called My Forever Tooth Fairy Gift Set, and what it includes is a storybook that I wrote that brings the message to life, and then our little Forever Tooth Fairy doll, and there's little drawers in it where there's a little bag for their tooth and magic mail, and I have it in my mind that I wanted the packaging that it wouldn't be disposable. I got very frustrated as a mother seeing all of this toy packaging that ends up in the bin. So the actual box itself is more of a keepsake box, and it lights up, and you know that's kind of part of the whole unboxing experience for the child. But the core message behind the brand is that every child has their own Forever Tooth Fairy, and they make them magical. So with each tooth they lose, they give their Forever Tooth Fairy a magic power. But those powers are things like love, confidence, kindness, joy. So the whole message behind the brand, and I suppose the reason why, you know, the passion for me, why I'm doing it, is that it says to each child that they are magical just the way they are. So that is the core. I don't think if that idea hadn't have come to me, Karl, I definitely wouldn't have pursued it. I wouldn't have invested the life savings and left a career to kind of put all the energy into it. So that's a really, really core part of the story. And it's really resonating with children. So it's a beautiful product. It amplifies the magic of the Tooth Fairy tradition, but it's also got this lovely meaningful message behind it as well.
So how have you marketed My Forever Tooth Fairy to date, and what channels have you gained most traction with?
So we're very recently launched. We launched on my daughter's birthday in August, so we're really only a couple of months out of the mark. But my background is marketing, so everybody said, sure, this is going to be the easy thing for you. But obviously I'm so close to this. But what I very clearly knew is that I actually didn't need a marketing strategy for this product and this brand. What I needed was a communication strategy. Because for me, when I start telling parents about the meaning behind the product, that's when it really kind of connects. So I've been really focusing on social media. I've been very lucky with mom influencers or mom influencers who I've gifted the product to, who have shared the story. And that's really given me a very strong level of lift-off in terms of developing my own following. And then obviously the retail partnerships that I've started to build as well. Because the product, I suppose, is that bit unique in the marketplace, there is no other brand in the Tooth Fairy kind of area. We've been lucky to get retail partnerships with Arnott's, Eason's, Kilkenny Design, and lots of independent toy stores as well.
And have you secured any international customers for your products?
Well, I was very excited when I saw some orders come in from Canada, but I'm really, because I'm so at the early start, so absolutely scale is the big thing for me, and exporting is where I see this brand growing, because the Tooth Fairy tradition exists in Ireland, the UK, USA, Canada, so that's absolutely the big, my eyes are on that prize. But at the moment, it's just kind of getting set up for exporting. So all of our stock is here in Ireland. So now we're looking to see how we can kind of scale up and expand operations so we can actually have product in these different countries, and then really focusing on that export market. So the couple of sales that are coming in, as you can imagine, they're quite expensive to get over to them, but we're taking them as they come in, but we have to now scale up for that.
And Emma, I'm conscious that it's very early days for you, but in terms of expanding your product range beyond the Tooth Fairy, any ideas there?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So we have a full product roadmap for the next 5 years. The product that I told you about, the My Forever Tooth Fairy gift set, that's really just the gateway product for us, to bring people into the brand. We've launched the girl version. The boy version is on the way as well. And we have some other little fairy notes, charm bracelets, a subscription model where, the child will get, a little dress for the Forever Tooth Fairy, little peaches. So we have a full idea of how this can expand, and especially along that lines of our tagline is "The magic is you." So even down to like a clothing range and all of those things that just empower children and reinforce that message with them. So product development is the area that I love. So that's the area that I have no problem with coming up with ideas for it.
And is there any opportunity to gamify these products?
I'm absolutely sure there is, but that's one thing that I'm committing to with parents. So this is, I suppose, in a sense, an old school product. It's tangible. It's in your hands. I'm committing that I won't see it on an app. You won't see it in a device that will kind of take children away from the product itself, because the investment I made and actually the illustrations and the world that we've created behind this brand and bringing it to life is so that children can immerse themselves in it and use their imagination. So now if somebody came along and said they wanted to do an animated movie of it, I don't think we'd say no, but not something that's in an app or a gamify. I want to promise to parents that this is something that lives with them in their imagination, and they are the hero of the story. They can imagine their own Forever Tooth Fairy. They can imagine that journey and everything that's happening in the world we've created, which is called Avalon. So, but we'll definitely use technology to get the message out there, but not actually with the product for children.
A key emerging trend in the area of kids' toys is educational play. Is there an opportunity to bring education into this toy?
Yes, I think one of the things for me, there's lots of amazing brands that are doing things around education, and that's fantastic. But there's not a lot of brands doing things around kind of emotional well-being, and that's where I feel our product sits. And as much as we can tell our children, you're great just the way you are, and you're worthy and all of those good things, a lot of the times it goes over their head. So by enveloping the magic of the Tooth Fairy tradition in that, we're hoping that message becomes stickier for children. And we do it that isn't in an overtly, kind of educational way, that it's enveloping them in the magic of it and that they're feeling it. So we know from our own research that a child's emotional development is parents' number one concern when they kind of move into those school-going years. So this is a beautiful product that parents can read the story with the children and kind of bring them into that whole idea of reinforcing with them that, they are worthy and they are magical just the way they are, as we explain in the story. So that's really our focus, more so than the educational side of things. Karl, that's where our mission is focused on.
And have you explored opportunities to sell this product through the Amazon and eBay platforms?
That's next steps for me. So really, I always thought of this 6 months from launch to Christmas as being really testing the market. First of all, getting the reviews and understanding what customers that they love this product as much as I did, because as much as research can tell you that there's going to be a high desire and propensity to purchase it until you kind of put it out there in the world and you get the feedback. So really, we've just been testing our direct-to-consumer model, building some of those retail partnerships, but the feedback already has been incredible, and all those reviews are independently verified on the website, and that's definitely spurred me on now with it to look to new platforms like Amazon, and now to look at kind of exporting and scaling and working with Enterprise Ireland to kind of own the Tooth Fairy experience globally. That's the real vision and mission behind it. And Ireland is the land of legend. Why not let it be a company from Ireland that kind of owns that space? So that's the trajectory we're hopefully on. And we'll just kind of keep pushing forward into next year to look at exporting.
And Emma, as a startup entrepreneur, what has been the greatest lesson that you've learned on your journey to date?
I think naively, I shouldn't have been naive about it, but I think understanding the length of time things take. I think patience is not my greatest virtue, and I've got a real vision and fire for this brand. But when you're doing everything on your own and you're doing everything on a shoestring budget, you have to just develop a little bit of patience that goes with that. So that's one thing that I've had to appreciate, that you're not working with a large team, and just it does take that period of time to kind of get things up and running.
And finally, Emma, what advice do you have for any other mothers that are considering starting a new business?
So I think I'm working with in a lot of those entrepreneur groups for women, which are fantastic, but you hear a lot of women who are kind of moving away from the corporate sector to start up something on their own so that they can have more balance. And yes, I suppose I am able to do drop-offs. I am a little bit more present, but it's still as busy. So you're still like getting the kids to bed, working at night time, because you still have that desire for it. So the balance isn't always there, but at least you can kind of set your own agenda. But what I would say is to go easy on yourself in that respect as well. So one thing I always said, if I do one thing every day that gets me closer to my end goal, and that one thing for today, it could be listening to your podcast, Karl, and getting some inspiration, because Rome absolutely wasn't built in a day. And when you're being a mom, you've got those juggles, but that doesn't say you can't pursue your passion. And I would say absolutely connect with some of those female entrepreneurship programs like Acorns, New Frontiers. Your local enterprise office should be your first port of call. And I would just say female entrepreneurs have blown me away with their kindness and support. Reach out to me on LinkedIn, reach out to other female entrepreneurs, because they're very much here to support everybody, because they've walked the walk and they're willing to actually pay it forward and to help wherever they can.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Emma Duffy from My Forever Tooth Fairy, and we wish her every success as she spreads the magic internationally.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.